I'm sure you can tell that I'm in no rush whatsoever to talk about that. Today's North London derby, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Arsenal 0. Honestly, it is the very last thing I want to talk about at the minute. But yeah, I'm going to do it anyway for some weird reason. It was a game of, dare I say, a game of two halves. It was two very contrasting halves and such a downward slump after what has been a very positive week, pretty much. That win against Middlesbrough, that fantastic win against City, and then that rather scrappy win against Leicester. Three positive results, but today we've thrown it all away. It was pathetic at times from Arsenal. It really was. We've proven that we are the inferior side in North London. I hate to admit that. I absolutely hate to say it. But Tottenham, man for man, they look like a better team in a minute. They look a lot more organised, a lot more compact. In my opinion, they've got the better manager at this moment. That's not to say he's been a better manager than Arsene Wenger has. You know, he needs accolades, he needs trophies to prove that. But at this moment in time, he is a better strategist than Wenger. He's a better tactician. And Pochettino is doing wonderful things with Spurs, and they've got a project that Tottenham fans can believe in. At Arsenal, changing to a back three doesn't mean that we have a project to believe in, because it hasn't worked today. And a change in formation isn't a project exactly. It's not something that I can buy into. It's not something that I can believe in. I can only really start believing in this squad when I start to see the results and a more exciting strategy from Arsenal. And I see something different, and I think that's only going to come with a change of manager. The fact we're in an FA Cup final doesn't change my stance on Arsene Wenger. I really do think that now our league form is so bad. This slump is awful. It's the worst I've seen, and the football that coincides with that isn't particularly great either. Even though we have changed to a back three, for large spells of that game against Borough, it was poor. It was very poor against Leicester, and in that game against Man City, it was very poor for the first 45 minutes. So I don't really think that much of a change has happened, to be honest with you. But defensively, we look a smidge better, even though we've conceded 2 goals today. But yeah, as I say, a change of manager, that's got to come sooner rather than later, because I'm bored of this. And I'm really not as shocked as I should be today. I'm really not. I wasn't particularly nervous before the game. I'm not particularly downbeat coming out of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely gutted about the result, but I half-heartedly expected it, which is a horrible thing to say, but that's the reality. Spurs going into this game, they've won, I believe, 8 on the bounce, something like that. They've won an enormous amount of games at home. They've been beating teams 4-0. That result at Wembley doesn't change how good they've been in the league, and they were favourites going into this game, clear favourites, and they've come out of it with a result that they thoroughly deserve. But let's not read. In fact, let's read deeply into this, because Arsenal weren't horrendous in this game, and especially in that first half. Although we didn't have any clear-cut chances and we created absolutely nothing defensively, I think we did very well. I think that we kept the likes of Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Eriksen. I thought we kept them very quiet. The back three appeared to be working. Yes, Spurs had 2 clear-cut chances through Dele Alli, and they had another one as well. Can't quite remember who threw, but they had 2 chances they should have put in the back of the net. Open goals. Eriksen. It was Eriksen with the other chance. They should have made it 2-0. They didn't, but they were 2 opportunities that came via deflections. Yes, we could have done a bit better on them both, but I think that in possession we played well. We played some good progressive football. We did have some good opportunities at Spurs' end of the pitch, but it was Alexis that seemed to be breaking down our attacks. He wasn't releasing the ball early enough. Olivier Giroud offered nothing up top. I hate to say that, but he offered nothing in this game. The change came far too late towards the end of the game. I mean, bringing on Welbeck and Walcott in those final... Well, when the game was gone at 2-0, it's just pointless. The change should have happened at half-time. But yeah, that first half wasn't as bad as people were making out. We certainly didn't deserve to be ahead, but I don't think we deserved to be behind either. Aaron Ramsey had a very promising start to this game. And let's talk about the team lineup in full. It was Xhaka and Ramsey in midfield, a midfield pivot that I wanted to see. I thought they operated well in that first half, but if only the team around them could have done a bit better. Oxlade-Chamberlain in that right wing-back role, not really as impressive as he was in that game against Man City. Left wing-back role, Kieran Gibbs, good to see him reinstated into the team. He's started 2 Premier League games in a row now, the first time he's done that in 2 years, and maybe today was kind of a reminder as to why that is the case. I love Kieran Gibbs, I absolutely love him, but he's just, in my eyes, he's just not good enough to be starting week in, week out. He didn't offer too much going forward. Don't get me wrong, he did do some good things in this game, but he's just not the outlet that we need in that left wing-back role. If you look at Chelsea and they've got someone like Marcus Alonso there, so proficient for them, Kieran Gibbs just isn't quite the same. And then moving Monreal to left centre-back, I don't think that was probably the wisest of moves. I don't think Monreal had an appalling game, but just seems to be much more progressive in that left wing-back role. I think he had his best performance in an Arsenal shirt in that game against Manchester City in that left wing-back role. So not to keep him there surprises me. not to keep Rob Holding in the team surprising me as well. I thought that game against Man City, the occasion and the pressure was vaster than it was in this North London derby. Today's game was massive, but that game at Wembley, in terms of winning a trophy, was even bigger. And Rob Holding certainly was very calm and very composed in that game. So I don't think it would have been a risk in the slightest to play him in this North London derby. So yeah, it's a shame that he's been dropped for this game. Up top, massive mistake starting Olivier Giroud. We needed pace, we needed power. Giroud, as I said, offered nothing in this game. We should have started with Welbeck, Alexis and Ozil. That would have been the front three that I would have loved to have seen. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case. Ozil, I don't think, was horrendous today. Didn't offer a lot, made some good passes. I mean, there's no point talking about individuals because as a collective, the team has let everyone down today, to be quite frank. That second half, the way the team capitulated, I don't know what Wenger said, but it was a stark contrast to that second half we put in against Man City in the semi-final of the Cup. Just everyone fell asleep. Aaron Ramsey turned into some sort of cheese string. He was awful after what had been a very promising start to the game from him. Midfield fell to pieces. We concede that sloppy goal through Dele Alli, absolute scramble in the box. Christian Eriksen with some wonderful work to take it for our whole team. I don't know how he was allowed to do that. Gabriel seems to be sleeping there, and then he plays it in, and Petr Cech makes a good save to get it away, but then Oxlade-Chamberlain couldn't get Dele Alli's shot off the line. It was a poor effort from him, and it makes it 1-0 to Spurs. And then straight after that, Harry Kane with a penalty. It was a controversial decision, to say the least. Gabriel's put his foot out. Harry Kane's made the most of the contact and he's gone down. Now, is that enough contact to make him go down in the manner that he has done? Nope, no way whatsoever. Not for a big guy like Harry Kane. But in this modern age of football, you can't make any contact whatsoever. So the referee's given it. Harry Kane's gone down, and it's a fantastic penalty by Kane. I've got to admit, it was a really, really good penalty. 2-0 to Spurs. Game done. It was all over at that point, and we didn't look at all like coming back into the game. We brought on Welbeck, we brought on Walcott, had a few half-hearted efforts, but apart from that, Spurs closed the game up nicely. They finished it off, got the 3 points they need to keep the pressure on Chelsea. Bish, bash, bosh, North London derby done, and they proved today that they are becoming the dominant sides in the north side of London, which is a horrible, horrible thing to say, but we've really got to buck up our ideas if we're to compete with Spurs. I mean, they're progressing so well at the minute. The way they're dominating us in the league, the way they're playing exciting football. They've got a very exciting set of players. Whether they keep those players remains to be seen. But the project they've got going on with the new stadium, I mean, it all looks so exciting. And Spurs fans must be really happy with the way things are going. I just wish that we had something similar to get so excited about. And we don't have that at the moment. And I do fear that if Arsene Wenger is to sign this new 2-year deal, then it will only get worse for us in terms of competing with Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to finish below them this season, and Spurs fans don't even seem to be talking about that much, which just shows how far we've fallen behind them. They're interested in bigger things. They're more interested in competing with Chelsea this season, and we are struggling to get into the top four. It's a real shame because Callum Chambers has been an absolute hero today, scored a goal against Man City. They managed to hold on for a 2-2 draw against them, and then you look around and you've got Chelsea beating Everton by 3-0. That did us a favour. United dropping points to Swansea. I mean, it was a great weekend for us in terms of other teams dropping points, but we haven't been able to be progressive with our result today. Even a point wouldn't have been the worst result in the world, but we have got a massive uphill task in terms of getting the top four finish this season. Thankfully, that is still a possibility. We've got games in hand, thanks to the teams today for taking points off our rivals, but it's going to be a big ask, and we don't look like a team that's going to be picking up too many more points on the road, especially against the likes of Southampton and Stoke, two teams we notoriously don't do well against. But we've got big games at home as well. Everton, Man United next weekend. I realistically don't see us getting a top four finish this season. It will be a miracle if we do, but the opportunity is still there. But given the way we're playing away from home, I don't see it being a real possibility. But today, horrendous. Tottenham, I would wish them luck, but I would wish them well on today's result, but I won't because it's Tottenham. But all I can say is they have something very exciting going on there, and I wish that I could say the same about Arsenal. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Please do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game, and as always, I'll be speaking to you very, very soon.